What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Full Court Talk. Myles is back
What's
as
good?
usual now. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. I'm super excited. Let's go.
Yeah. But before we get started, what did you guys think of the J. Cole album? It's been out for a weekend now, so how'd you guys feel about it?
Yeah.
Fire.
Yep.
So worth the wait.
Yeah, no, I totally
Yeah.
agree.
What are your
It's
guys' favorites?
100 mil for me. It's
Hmm.
Pride
so
is the
good.
devil.
Oh,
Pride is the
Pride of the
Devil for me
Devil's so
too.
good
Yeah.
too.
I love Lil
Yeah.
Baby. So
Yeah.
Yeah. My
yeah, for
Life is
him to be on
super
it.
good too.
Yeah.
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 hmm
Honestly,
But
there's no skips at least, so like it's just
Yeah.
a really good album. So
100%.
just makes me
eh,
excited for the fall off too. I'm hoping that comes out soon too.
yeah. I don't know about you guys, but like for me, like for Apple Music, it wasn't showing like the features and whatnot.
It
So like,
didn't show
when I
like a
was
couple days.
Yeah. Same thing on
yeah.
Yeah.
Spotify. Same thing on
So
Spotify.
when I was listening to it, like obviously I wasn't expecting like any other names other than Cole. So like I said, when Pride and the Devil came on, like and Lil Baby was on it, I was just like, oh
Yeah, dude.
man.
He came in so smooth with that.
Yeah.
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 Like I literally had the reaction where if like your teammate dunked on someone, I was like, oh, it was
Yep.
so fire.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I haven't put anything else on for the past like 3 or 4 days.
Me
And
too.
like during basketball yesterday, I just had it on repeat for like 4 hours.
Yep. That's how you got to do it. Yeah.
But with everything coming down to an end, the regular season is finally over. This was a interesting regular season with a ton of injuries and everything like that. But the play-in matchups are set. The playoff matchups, half of them, or at least more than half, but most of them are set at this point. So the first play-in game is going to be the Eastern Conference. It's going to be Hornets Pacers, and that's playing tomorrow at 3:30. The second game, Wizards Celtics. The first Western Conference game, Spurs Grizzlies, and the second one, it's going to be pretty good. It's Warriors Lakers.
Some light.
Yeah, some light. And then the third one will be for the losers of the 7-8 matchup and the winners of the 9-10 matchup. Same thing for the West. And for the playoffs, the only four series that are set are the 4-5 and the 3-6. So we'll get into those a little later. But starting with the first game, Hornets Pacers. Who do you guys have?
Ooh.
Want me to
I
go first?
mean,
Go ahead.
I got it.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say like when last week when we talked about the Pacers having a lot of trouble, you can't deny that they're a good team, but I mean the Hornets, like they're surging, bro. I know they just lost to the Wizards, but they're dynamic. I feel like they have a really good chance. So I'm gonna go with the Hornets.
I'll take the Pacers because I know they don't have Brogdon, but
Yeah,
the Hornets also don't have Hayward.
Yeah.
And I
true.
just think as both teams are constructed, Pacers are more talented with Sabonis and Levert leading the way.
Fair.
And yeah, we all love LaMelo, but I mean, he's 19, so
True.
Yeah, I'm actually going with the Hornets here just because I think the Hornets they have the NBA on their side because Melo's the star child now.
We're good.
But not only that, I think in the season series they're 2-1, and all of those games Melo didn't have a big imprint on the game, and so seeing how they play with Melo now, I think it should be easier for them to win. But I mean, you never know. It's a one-game series. Like Sabonis could absolutely go off. Anyone can go off, and it could be totally different.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Hornets here and see. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah.
That was a quick one because there's not much to talk about on that one. But
yeah.
Wizards Celtics, I think that one's gonna be a good game.
Me too.
Celtics shouldn't be there,
They
but
shouldn't have
they
been.
are.
Yeah.
Uh, Wizards are one of the hottest teams in basketball. They are 13-5 over their last 18 games, and they had huge statement wins. They beat the Lakers, they beat the Jazz, and they beat the Warriors twice. So there are some pretty interesting wins in that. The Celtics, on the other hand, have just lost Jaylen Brown. Kemba Walker has been inconsistent. They're 2-6 in their last 8 games, and their only 2 wins came against the Magic and the Timberwolves. So not really a big win. So I'm gonna go with the Wizards. Not really a surprise, but who do you guys have?
Go ahead, Myles.
I'm taking the Wizards too, because they're hot like the Warriors right now.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, Boston doesn't have Jaylen Brown. Tatum can only carry so much, but I mean, it is one game. Maybe he'll drop 60 again. But I'll take Russ and Brad for sure right now.
Yeah. I'm also gonna go with the Wizards. Just because like you guys, we all agreed they're one of the hottest teams in the NBA, and Jaylen Brown being out plays a huge role because he's obviously the other duo, or the other side of the duo for the Celtics. And you never know. Like Miles said, like Jason Tatum can easily go nuclear like Steph does and drop like a 40 piece and just carry them to a win. But it's gonna be interesting because Bradley Beal and Jason Tatum got that St. Louis ties, so it's gonna be interesting how they match up. But I don't see them losing just because Russ has been playing amazing. Bradley Beal, I know he's not 100%. He recently just said that game that he came back in, he wasn't 100%, but I'm pretty sure he'll be ready. So I just have them winning because they're surging, bro. Just like the Warriors, they're surging. So I like their chances.
Yeah, I mean, they could complete one of the biggest comebacks in not
Mm-hmm.
NBA history, but like, I mean, coming from like what they were the 14 seed, everyone counted them out, and now they jumped nearly every bad team in the East, and to get into that 7 seed is or 8 seed, I guess, is just it's crazy. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think Wizards are gonna win this one. But we'll get into what we think about for the third game in a little bit. But the first Western Conference game is going to be the Spurs and Grizzlies. Um, both teams are playing okay. The Grizzlies are 6-4 over the last 10. Obviously, losing against the Warriors last night or yesterday. They did have a 5 game winning streak before that. Um, but this young Grizzlies team is really good. They have a lot of. They're very feisty. They don't have the shooting, I think, just yet. Ja has definitely cooled off from his rookie season on the shooting because I think he shot like high 30s, maybe even low 40s in his rookie season from three. This year he was flat 30%, so he had a tough season from deep. But Valanciunas he's quietly having a really good season. I had him on my fantasy, and I've seen him drop 20 and 15 consistently, and he's been insanely good for them. Dylan Brooks is a real problem on both ends, even though he fouls a ton. Um, he's a good shooter, and he's definitely if they're gonna want to proceed into the playoffs, he needs to be hot. If they're not, it's over for them. Uh, the Spurs are interesting. They're a vet team with a really good young point guard in DeJounte Murray, but they have a lot of experience. Rudy Gay is going to be a problem, I think, for the Grizzlies. Maybe it's a revenge game for him. You never know. But I'm still gonna have I have the Grizzlies going on. I think they're a little too deep compared to the Spurs. Um, and I don't trust the Spurs at the moment. But you never know. Good coaching, experience, and all that could help them win. But I'm going with the Grizzlies in this one.
Oh man. For me, I think it goes either way. Just because, like you said, like Pop is one of the best coaches in the NBA history. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I think it'll be a game of chess, just because like he's familiar with some players on the other team, specifically Kyle Anderson, right? And so just seeing what the Spurs like can do in the postseason, especially that since they got like playoff experience, DeMar DeRozan, Rudy Gay. Um, I think I'm gonna lean towards the Spurs. I know they haven't been winning. I know they've been losing. They've been losing some close games. But I think experience might pay off. And I think, if anything showed me from that Warrior Grizzlies game, Dylan Brooks, bro, like he can't control his emotions, man.
yeah,
He got psyched out. And so like, Pop is smart. So, maybe he'll do something about that. Or maybe he'll attack that. But, um, Jonas Valanciunas and Ja, like they're a duo in their own right. I know Jaren
yeah.
Jackson just got back, so that definitely helps them. But I think I'm gonna have to go with the Spurs, just because of pure playoff experience and the veterans over what the Grizzlies have.
Can't blame you. I'm taking Memphis too, just because me personally, when it comes to young guys, I try to
Mhm.
see how they respond to big moments. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
the measuring stick, especially early on.
Yeah.
For example, Luca last year hitting that pull-up three on the
Hmm.
Clippers in the playoffs. So
Yep.
I think Jaw's gonna step up. He knows what's at stake, start to make a name for himself. Obviously, last year they got bounced by Portland, who was
Hmm.
hot as hell at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah, they're gritty. They're they're good defensively. You're right. Shooting is pretty inconsistent, but honestly, the best playoff games are when they get ugly, and that's when you give yourself the best chance to win. So I'm taking
True.
Memphis for that.
Yeah, I just think Memphis is a little too deep for the Spurs, and I think they'll be able to grind it out. But on to the premier matchup. Uh, I have a feeling I know how this is going to shake out for who's going to pick who. I know it's three Warrior picks, so we can just move on.
Kuzma
But
versus Draymond.
oh, that's TJ's. That's
I'm
TJ's
taking
league.
Draymond, bro. I'm taking Draymond all day.
But I'll let you guys go first. So Lakers Warriors. Well, Warriors at Lakers, 7 o'clock Wednesday. Who do you guys have?
Go ahead, Myles.
Alex Caruso, the GOAT. No, yeah, Lakers obviously.
Yeah.
It sucks that it's a one game thing instead of seven, but that also makes it more exciting, especially for Warriors fans, because everyone knows out of 7 games, the Warriors maybe get one.
Yeah.
But out of one game, they might get one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the key for me, well, there's two. One is just throwing a bunch of different looks at Steph. You got a lot of wing guys. You got Matthews, you got KCP, Kuzma, even Caruso, Schroeder. Even he's been really good on ball this year. And then on the other end, you put Draymond on either LeBron or AD. Then who gets the other? Both looked really good over the weekend. So that was very encouraging. I'm still
Yeah.
concerned because LeBron landed awkwardly yesterday,
Yep.
but thankfully he has like a 3-day layoff. They know what's at stake, and I don't think LeBron wants to get clowned by Steph on national TV. So taking the Lakers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, guys, we're looking at the Western Conference Finals here. Honestly,
Maybe.
I hope so.
This is the Western Conference Finals, and I want to say the word of the day is duck, because that's what every Western team has been doing, man. You know, contrary to popular belief, everybody's been saying nobody's ducking the Lakers, but come on, man, it's so obvious. Clippers, all the way to the Nuggets and Blazers game, like, come on, dude. But I understand, nobody wants to get matched up against the Lakers. But I mean, obviously, I have the Lakers, just because all of us know that me and Miles are fans, and honestly, like Miles said, like it'll be fun to see what kind of matchups Vogel throws at Steph. I mean, we're very, very familiar playing against the Warriors. We lost earlier this season, so that could play a huge role. If I'm like doing film right now, I'm watching that game as opposed to all the games that we won against them. So it's going to be very interesting because it's literally do or die. It's like game 7, obviously, and so a lot of things can happen. And Warrior fans should definitely be excited. They should be happy. And then for us Laker fans, like I talked about yesterday, man, like if you're not scared to play Steph, then you're delirious. You know what I mean? Like Steph is like he's an MVP candidate. He's arguably the best player of the season, and so like the Warriors are surging. And if you think about it, like they've been injured, they've been losing players due to getting released, signed, traded, all that stuff. And not they're not the only ones, but like they steered the ship clear through all the way to the postseason, and here they are. And it's good for the NBA, like we discussed earlier. Like it's going to bring in a lot of revenue, and these two teams shouldn't be here, but here they are, and that's what makes it even more interesting. So I'm looking forward to it. However it turns out, like we discussed earlier too, like whoever loses, they're not done. It's just one team has more to lose over the other. So can't wait for Wednesday, man. Can't wait.
Yeah. I will say this before. I don't blame teams for ducking the Lakers. or even the Warriors at this point, because
Yeah.
your first round is supposed to be your bye week if you're a high seed. You want that rhythm. You want to gain that rhythm to take into your next series against the difficult opponents. You're not going to get rhythm against the Lakers. And you're sure as hell not going to get it against the Warriors. You're going to have a tough matchup. So I don't blame him. Do I agree with it? Probably not, because we never want to lose on purpose. But so I'm going to go with the Warriors. Shocker. But, something about Steph, if he doesn't go nuclear, it's game. Lakers are going to win. Steph literally has to score 45 to 50 points for us to win the game. So we'll see. He's never played well against the Lakers in Staples Center for whatever reason. I think I saw his last 8 games. I have the stats. His last 8 games.
Go ahead.
1 for 10, 0 for 10, 4 for 10, 3 of 9, 2 for 10, 1 of 9, 3 for 12, 2 of 7. Combined 16 of 77 for 21% in Staples Center. Against the Lakers. Not even against the Clippers. That's just the Lakers. So I'm not sure if it's because the Staples Center makes it extra dark, because I know that they do that to give the ambiance for the players. I don't know, because I don't know if the Clippers do that. I've never been there, but I'm not sure what it is. He just has never played well in Staples Center against the Lakers for whatever reason. So that's what makes me a little nervous for the game. And then also, throw in fucking LeBron, Anthony Davis, Andre Drummond. And Kyle Kuzma. How could I forget him?
Come on, man. He's the only person that I hope the Lakers do. The Warriors do well against. All right.
I hope he's on Steph then. But I think something to keep in mind is like the Lakers have had a handful of games of that trio, and that's going to be the tough part, because you don't build chemistry in the playoffs, and that's essentially what this is. This is a do or die game. So it's going to be interesting to see how they respond to that. But, I still got to go with the Warriors. Juan Toscano-Anderson has been amazing for us. Jordan Poole, something I've always said that he's been – I knew he was good since he crossed Dame. As soon as I saw that, I was like, this kid's special. And he's been really good for us. With them leading our bench, I'm hoping we can pull it out. But I'm excited for Wednesday. I think it's going to be a great game. And good luck to you guys, because I know
same with you.
I'll probably be texting you guys the entire time.
Yeah.
But we'll see. If, no matter who loses this game, I think they get into the playoffs and get to the 8th seed. And honestly, if I'm the Lakers, I want to get into the 8th seed. Honestly, if I'm both teams, I want the 8th seed, because you go against the Jazz, who have been tough they haven't been tough to beat. They've been easier to beat because no Donovan Mitchell. And is he going to have rhythm to go against a good Lakers squad, a good Warriors squad? I'm not sure. But then you also have either the Clippers or the Mavericks. I'd much rather face them other than 2 higher seeds like the Suns or the Nuggets.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm excited. Hopefully there's a Warriors-Lakers Western Conference Finals meetup in the end.
Oh, man. Imagine that.
the 7 and 8 seeds. I think that would be the lowest ever.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it would be.
It'd have to be, yeah.
But I'm hoping that happens, because that would be insane. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Warriors.
I wanted to say real quick, hopefully we get another moment of, remember when Steph went up for a dunk on a fast break and he slipped?
No, we don't need that. We don't need that.
And then he relocated to the corner and he airball.
We don't need that. We don't need that. No moments like that.
Spence, hold on. Like, going off of what Myles just said, hold on. So how many, in that stat that you read us, how many games did the Warriors win?
It didn't say.
It didn't say. But I feel like the losses are pretty much less than the wins. You know what I mean? I feel like they won more, but it's just Steph that just doesn't perform well in Staples for some reason.
And even when the Lakers didn't have LeBron, they didn't have any good teams. Like, Steph was still bad. Steph has always been bad against the Lakers in Staples Center for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. He just can't.
He just loves playing the Clippers more, dude.
I was,
I mean,
I was gonna say maybe those Hollywood lights are a little too bright.
whoa, whoa. I'll back him up. It's not too bad. But so the third play-in game, which would be for the 8th seed, I have the Hornets and Celtics as my two teams. I'm gonna go with the Hornets. I think the Celtics missed the playoffs this year because they had been. It would be like the moldy cherry on top of a shitty season for them because like they've been so bad this year compared to what people thought they would meet to at least top 5, top 4, and they're the 7th seed, and they haven't been good almost all year. So we'll see. And Kemba has not been good at all. He's been very inconsistent, dealing with a lot of injuries. And are you going to trust him because become your secondary scorer this late? Probably not.
Yeah.
And Terry Rozier against his former squad, that's going to be a huge matchup for him. And with the way he's been playing this season, which has been insane. And plus, like I said, Melo's going to get them star calls because they really want him in the playoffs, I feel like. So I'm going with the Hornets to make that 8th seed. Like going against, oh yeah, they're going to get bounced in the first round of the Sixers, but it'll be interesting.
Anyone will.
Oh yeah, anyone will. Doesn't matter. But who do you guys have for whoever you chose?
Go ahead, CJ.
So, I have. Wait, this is for the possible Hornets and Celtics matchup that we were talking about earlier. Man, I do have the Hornets again. If that's the matchup that we're talking about, just because the Celtics, aside from just Kemba, the Celtics, the whole entire team has been inconsistent without Jaylen Brown, and I feel like, I didn't even consider it earlier when I made my Hornets pick, but what Spence said about how the NBA wants to see LaMelo succeed, and I'm not going to say they're fixing games, but as much as possible, yeah, it's definitely going to be a factor going into the postseason. But it's just, I think they're going to get the advantage just because Tatum got to do everything, and the Hornets, like you said, the revenge game for Terry Rozier. And then LaMelo, obviously, PJ Washington's been playing well. Miles Bridges just came back.
Yep.
I think this matchup is more favorable towards them. Only thing is, I liked what Miles said earlier about Gordon Hayward being out because he's been playing so well before he went down. So I think that's still going to be a factor regardless. But yeah, I think the Hornets grind it out somehow. But like you said, eventually fall to the Sixers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Boston. I've actually seen them play a lot this year, and yeah, they're very inconsistent, but they're still familiar with each other, and they have more playoff experience. I would bet on LaMelo like I did Ja in the other matchup, but it's only his first year compared to Ja's second.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I love watching Charlotte play because they're young, they're exciting, but that doesn't always translate to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think the Celtics, again, they will have to muck it up, make it ugly. Tatum has to control the tempo. And I do trust Kemba to step up a little because he is clutch, but just over the course of the playoffs, I don't trust him in that way. But I think just for this 1-2 game scenario, he could step up.
Yeah, and I think the Celtics would definitely make a better matchup against the Sixers just because there's history. But that's been the confusing thing about the Celtics all year is like you guys never had there was not that big of a change to where it pushes you all the way to the 7th seed. Losing Gordon Hayward is something, but he was never that good in Boston. So they're a confusing team to me. I'm not sure what happened to them, if there's internal problems or what, but they've had a pretty bad season so far. But I think they could definitely push the Hornets, and they could. It's a game where either team could win, I feel like. But for the last playing game, I have the Grizzlies and Lakers. You have the Grizzlies and Warriors, or who's the other? Spurs or Warriors. I'm going with the Lakers here. Even though both teams run a very similar starting lineup, I feel like in terms of running two bigs that are 7-footers, Andre Drummond and Valanciunas are very similar in terms that they're both back-to-basket bigs who just stay in the paint, grab boards, play defense. Jaren Jackson Jr. and Anthony Davis, both big guys who have guard skills. Obviously, Anthony Davis is leaps and bounds better than Jaren Jackson, but very similar. The only difference is Lakers have LeBron, so that's going to push them forward. Not much to say here. Grizzlies don't stand a chance against LeBron and the Lakers, so I'll go with the Lakers.
No one clipped this, but I'm taking the Warriors. I mean, I saw the game last night too. They're just too young and not good enough to challenge Steph. Simple as that.
Yeah.
You know what? The Grizzlies are going to try to make some adjustments. Keywords try, but it's not going to happen. Warriors are going to get that easily, in my opinion. Dylan Brooks is going to try his best not to fall out. But, when you have to stay on a defender like Steph, it's going to be way too difficult. And I just think that matchup-wise, like the Warriors, they have it better than they do. And I understand that they're not really deep in the front court, which is Kevon Looney. But JTA has been playing well. Jordan Poole is one solid backup guard who's finally getting the opportunity. It's just a no-brainer. Steph's hot MVP candidate, so I have the Warriors. Same thing with Myles. Yep.
But let me say, Kevon Looney has been really good lately.
He has been
grabbing double-digit boards.
Yeah.
He had a tough corner shot yesterday. I was so proud of him.
It's a T-shirt, bro. It's a T-shirt under the jersey.
He is one of the weirdest looking dudes on the court, but I'm okay with it. He gets it done now.
Yeah.
But so since everything is set now, we have who we think is going to make it into the playoffs. Who do you guys think is going to be the sleeper team out of all of these teams? East or West?
Ooh.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if they're considered a sleeper because they're the 4th seed, but the Knicks play damn good basketball.
Yeah.
Yep.
And again, I keep saying it, but they play like the ugly style where they slow it down and they make you earn all your shots. Hopefully they're not gassed just by going too hard during the season. But if I'm any team, honestly, I don't want to see them just because their physicality, like that is taxing over the course of a 7-game series.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see, honestly, that matchup of the Knicks and the Hawks, just because it's two teams that,
styles.
yeah, exactly. Two teams that weren't even supposed to be that high.
Yeah.
For the East, I also have the Knicks, just because Julius Randle. If you ever watch this, I miss you,
dude. So much, much.
And the Kobe ties run really deep with him, and he's put in the work, and it shows. Like he's gonna get recognition, MIP in my opinion. And so the Knicks, like I've said about other teams, they're surging and they earned this postseason appearance. It's been a while since the Knicks have been in the playoffs, and what everybody says like, oh, basketball is just better when the Knicks are winning, and I agree. Everybody loves playing at the Garden, and so I'm rooting for Julius Randle just because of how much work he puts in. The things he got from Kobe. Obviously, if it's about Kobe, I'm always going to be in for it. So I do have the Knicks as that team in the East. The West is it's pretty much harder in my opinion, just because for me personally, it's just because they match up with the Lakers, or the Lakers are going to end up seeing them. So I can't really, root for a team. But yeah, it's definitely hard. So, but if I had to pick a team in the West, I would say the Suns. The Lakers or the Warriors have an opportunity to see them, but the Suns, just because I want to see what Chris Paul actually does with a good team again. He had OKC last year, and they couldn't get out of the first round with Houston, but they faced a roadblock called the Warriors. So I want to see what he's capable of doing with players like Book. And speaking of Book, going off of that, it's just his first time being in the playoffs. I know he's worked for it too, so I'm curious to see how he can perform. But so those are my teams. East is the Knicks, Suns out of the West.
Yeah, I also have the Knicks. They are insanely good on defense, and they're actually not a bad offensive team. But they are a team that will grind it out, and they're going to do it to a lot of these teams. I think the Hawks are going to have the most trouble against them, just because great defense always beats great offense in terms of a series. And honestly, it might be a hot take. I could see the Knicks getting into that Western Conference final spot because they match up so well against the Sixers too. I'm not sure how that would work in terms of a series against the Sixers and Knicks. I think it would be a damn good battle. I think there would be a lot of tough shots made, and I think it's going to be a tough battle. But I think in the end, the Knicks are going to be a team to watch because they're a team that no one thought would be here, and any Tom Thibodeau team is a pain in the ass to go against.
Agreed.
But I also have the Heat. They dealt with a lot of injuries, and I don't know if they're a sleeper per se. But I think the Heat could definitely make it back into the finals with how they've been surging and with finally being healthy. Looks like Tyler Hero's finally figuring it out. I don't want to do a third team, but the Wizards. The Wizards match up really nicely against the Nets. And plus, we might actually get a Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant series.
No, I didn't even realize that.
I didn't realize. I saw that now. That would be really interesting too. So, and with how Russ has been playing, that could be even better. So,
the
East just has a lot of good matchups this year. For the West, I'm not going to pick the Lakers because the Lakers aren't they're not a sleeper. Same
Bro,
thing.
we believe.
Okay.
It's so terrible, bro. I'm sorry, but I just have to bring that out there.
It's like what Jared Dudley said. It's gonna be the hardest road to a championship, right? It's like the bubble.
Oh man,
I guess I would go with the Trailblazers. They're like the Celtics, where they're not supposed to be this low. They really dealt with a lot of injuries towards the end, and they fell off. But I can't doubt Dame. Dame is too good to lose another series. He's willed his team to a Western Conference before, so we'll see what happens. I think even CJ, that duo is just so good on offense, and with the added defensive pieces, I think they could make it pretty far. But we'll see. Going up against the Suns or the Warriors / Lakers, that's going to be tough. Because the road to the Western Conference Finals for them is going to be extremely tough. But the Western Conference looks really interesting. I'm excited for it. But out of every team here, who do you think doesn't deserve to be here? Out of the playoff teams who have already clinched, who doesn't deserve to be there?
The Jazz.
That's tough, bro. No love for JC.
Bro, I love JC, man. I love JC, but I just think the Jazz are this year's version of the Hawks from back then.
Yeah, I could see it.
You know what I mean? Like no disrespect to Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and all those guys, but it's just, I mean, the number one seed is a number one seed. Like, you can't disrespect that, but it's just in terms of I don't know, man. It's just the Jazz. Like I feel like nobody's really scared of them.
Yeah, especially after all the injuries, and it's going to be easier way to get in. That's why a lot of teams want the 8th seed. It's easier to go against them than a healthy Suns team, even if they don't have DeAndre Ayton.
Exactly, especially since Donovan Mitchell will only be coming back this time around for the playoffs. He'd even play in the regular season.
We don't even know when he's coming back.
Yeah,
that was a bad ankle injury.
Exactly. Yeah, and as much as I love JC, like he can only carry the scoring load for so long. And I know he's a 6 man of the year candidate, if not the front runner for it. But it's just, I'll tell you this, like whether or not the Lakers or the Warriors get the A seed, any one of them, I'm excited to play. If I'm the Warriors, I'm especially excited to play against them. You know what I mean? Considering what they did just most recently. And then like obviously if our Lakers get matched up with them, then even better, just because like, I feel like we own them in matchups. Rudy Gobert is not going to check AD. He's not going to even check Andre Drummond, in my opinion. Even though Andre Drummond hasn't really been finishing well, but yeah, it's just no disrespect to the Jazz, but I'm just not scared of the Jazz. Any team in the postseason right now in the West, like I wouldn't be scared of them. So yeah.
It's tough to say a team doesn't deserve it. Just because it's been the course over 72 games.
Yeah.
I'm gonna phrase it differently in that who I didn't expect to be here was just the Hawks.
Yeah.
Because I like Trae Young, but typically when your star player is that small, it's tough. I mean, you have some outliers like Isaiah Thomas on the Celtics. But after they fired their coach, they just started getting hot, and they really haven't slowed down. And I'm just most surprised because I thought Chicago would find a way to get in after trading for Vucevic.
Yeah,
that trade looks kind of bad now.
I think they got worse after.
Yeah, they just never put it together.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I'll just say that I was surprised Atlanta made it, because I expected Chicago to get that spot. But out west, it's pretty standard. I mean, if anything, I would have expected New Orleans over San Antonio. But again, there they have talent, but they can't figure it out.
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't say who doesn't deserve. I think it would be more so who I don't trust. I'm going with the Bucks. The Bucks just, they don't have a good track record. Every year it seems like they get worse and worse. This year is no different. Going against the Heat in the first round is not going to be fun.
Sucks for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I honestly think they're going to get bounced in the first round. As much as I hate to say that, because I like Giannis a lot. But I think the media does treat him like a god. And honestly, like he doesn't have that bag like we've talked about. He doesn't have the way to close games other than a dunk. He's not going to kill you at the free throw line. He's actually going to help you there. So end of the game situations, I just don't trust them. And what playoff basketball is are you able to thrive in those end of game situations? He's just not able to because of his lack of a jump shot. The Heat are a grit and grind team, and they match up really well against a team like the Bucks. So I'm going with the Bucks because I just don't trust them to get any further than the first round. Even going up against either the Nets, Wizards, or Celtics, are they able to beat those teams? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Especially the Nets. Even though the Nets have no chemistry whatsoever, you can't deny their offensive firepower. So, I mean, you can argue they don't have a chemistry, but they made one of the most beautiful plays the other night with Blake Griffin, Kyrie, KD, and Mike James.
James, yeah.
It's going to be really interesting, but I don't trust the Bucks at all. I think they're going to be a team to go again and lose early, get bounced in the first round.
Yeah.
Then Giannis will regret signing that extension.
There it is. I was waiting for it.
Hey, you guys know what this is, though, right? It's a Giannis legacy series. Instead of legacy game, It's a legacy series.
It is.
You know what I mean? Since he lost last year against the Heat, everybody's gonna look to him to see whether or not he can carry them past the Heat. And like Myles said, it sucks, bro. First round against the Heat.
I know.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's like easily the most competitive first round series too.
Yeah.
I would look at the Clippers and Mavericks I think the Clippers are
Mm.
gonna come back with a vengeance from last year because they got a lot of shit last year for almost losing to them.
I'm not losing any sleep over
Same old,
PG
same
and the
old.
Clippers, bro. They'll probably win. They'll probably win. I'll give them that.
Yeah,
But like playoff P, eh,
Pandemic
eh.
P.
Hey, they have
Pandemic
playoff
P.
Rondo too.
That's fair,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
But I want to see what happens with Jokic. I want to see if he's able to
Mm,
put something together that's special. Aaron Gordon has, he's really never been in the playoffs. I think he has one series under
yeah.
his belt, and they got swept. Probably no, I think it was 5 games, 6 games
Mm,
maybe against the Raptors.
yeah, Toronto. Yep.
I think DJ Augustine stole a game from them. So,
Yep.
uh, still, that MPJ is someone you got to watch, but the Blazers have enough defenders on them to keep them settled down at least. So we'll see.
Hmm.
But I think there's a lot of good series. That Knicks Hawks series, I'm really excited for sure. But Heat Bucks, man, I think that's gonna be my favorite series to watch.
Yeah.
Other than the Warriors, Warriors, Suns. So
Okay. Someone clip that.
Oh man.
if the Warriors lose on Wednesday, I'll go back and delete that part.
Oh man.
But before we go, who do
Yeah.
you guys have winning the championship, and why is it the Warriors?
Good lord.
I mean, I'll tell you this, bro. The West, I have obviously the Lakers, but the Western Conference Finals, like that is the tricky part, in my opinion. Obviously, I would love if the Clippers and the Lakers met in the finals. Now that would be another, must-see TV, good for the NBA, pull revenue type thing. But I mean, obviously, the obvious choice for this season is the Nets and the Lakers, right? And that could entirely go any other way, if realistically speaking, just because like the Lakers are deeper in the front court as opposed to the Nets, but the Nets have three offensive juggernauts. But I still have the Lakers pulling it out somehow. And you guys know how I feel about LeBron and Kobe. I prefer Kobe over Bron, but it's just I think the Lakers have enough pieces to go against that. And like I mentioned earlier, if there's one game to watch for the Lakers, is the time where they beat the Nets without any of their guys. And so I understand that James Harden wasn't playing, so that could play a huge role as well. But it's just I trust Frank Vogel. I really ever since he's come on, like his defensive schemes, like it's definitely been like helpful just because of our defensive rating and what he's done to teams in the past. So I trust that over Steve Nash. And so I have the Lakers and I have them winning in 7. It's going to be a tough series if it gets to that far. I have them winning in 7.
God, this is so tough. Like, I want to pick those two teams to go to the finals too.
Yeah.
And if I put money on it, I would.
Yep.
But both are just they're not where they thought they would be at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyrie, KD, and Harden have had 8 games together the whole year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But still, you give them that edge because they're just so damn talented.
Yep.
And then kind of the same with the Lakers, where all their guys are coming back at the same time. And the West is super competitive.
Yeah.
I would still take both to come out of their conferences. God, I don't want to say the Nets, but my brain is telling me the Nets just because, again, like 2 all-time great offensive talents, sure, like I'll take that. But defending 3, there's literally no defending that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, and it'll come down again to tempo because the Nets are better in the backcourt, Lakers are better in the front court. So whichever side of the offensive ball is controlled, that's the team that's going to win. And the crappy thing is that now all of a sudden seeding matters. So Nets will have home court.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I wouldn't be mad at Harden getting one. I've always wanted him to get one.
Yeah.
I love Kyrie also, and I can celebrate KD's first ring. So
Whoa.
I was waiting for that one.
I'm playing.
So I'm actually gonna go against the Nets here. I just don't see the chemistry working out, and defensively, I think they're gonna have a lot of issues. I'm gonna go with the Heat. I think the Heat are gonna make it for the East, and as much as I hate to say it, I think it's gonna be a rematch. Lakers Heat.
Appreciate you, Spence.
Cut that. But I'm gonna have the Heat taking it. The Heat look a lot better. They look a lot more put together. So I'm hoping that they are able to actually pull it out this time. I think last year playing all those 7-game series just gassed them, and they weren't able to pull it out in the end. But I mean, this is a different beast for the Lakers. They added Andre Drummond and Montrezl Harrell. So what do you do? Like that's a tough cover for any team, let alone the Heat. But that's going to be a really good series, even if it's Lakers Nets and I'm wrong. That's a hell of a series too. Because even though the trio of James Harden, Kyrie, and KD, they all have chemistry, but do they have enough chemistry with the rest of them? That's going to be the thing to watch for at least the Nets. And my dark horse, it's going to be the Warriors. No, I don't think they have enough to get to the finals. But just making the playoffs would be good enough for me this year, after everything. But it's so tough because the Lakers are dealing with a lot of issues, but so are the Nets or the Heat. Every team's dealing with a lot of issues, but it seems like the Lakers have had the most because that LeBron ankle, like you guys play basketball, ankle sprains never go away. They always come back. And at his age, it's going to be really bad. If he gets into one ankle sprain, which happens at a freak accident, you guys could be done right after that, And same thing said for Steph. If Steph just gets too tired and breaks down, it's over for the Warriors. But we'll see. I'm excited for the playoffs. It's been a long season, ton of injuries. And even though we joked about the Lakers being here, I didn't think the Lakers would be here. But CJ, I have one question for you.
What's up, man?
So if the Lakers won the championship and the only person eligible for the Finals MVP was Kyle Kuzma,
bro,
would you celebrate the win?
Bro, all I have to say is Steph better 2021.
Oh my god,
dude! You know what? I'm sorry, guys. Kyle Kuzma and I have the same amount of bag in our game. 0. Bro.
Whoa, you got a bag. You got a bag.
I'm pretty sure your handle's better than his. Honestly,
your free throw's better too.
Thanks, guys. But honestly though, like I know I make fun of him all the time and I hate him so much. But what I saw yesterday, he actually played a little bit better, which is why I didn't say anything. But I mean, honestly, like in the beginning, we were talking about how he's playing for a contract, and now that he has it, I thought that he was going to be better. And don't get me wrong, he has his flashes, but it's just the thing that I hate about him is just he just makes some bonehead decisions, man. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Yeah, dude. And like honestly, like Spence, when you said there's going to be a rematch between the Heat and the Lakers, all I could think about was Max Kellerman and what he said. Martians pointing a death beam at us. who would I want taking the last shot? I want Iguodala.
That man's entertaining as hell, dude. He's so entertaining.
Dude. And he said it with a straight face too. You know what I mean? And so like, if Kyle Kuzma is the only person eligible for winning Finals MVP, I guess I'm jumping ships, bro. I'm jumping ships that same day. Man, but honestly, like it's gonna be a tough road. It's gonna be a tough road. Like like regardless of like what anybody says, like you don't have to sugarcoat it, but it's just going from where the Lakers are at right now all the way to the finals. Like, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough, and I think it's not just for the Lakers or the Heat too, just because they both had the shortest turnaround. It's for every team because of everything that's been going on in the whole world. So that's why, like, we can't wait to watch it, especially with everything starting tomorrow. So I'm so excited.
Yeah, and I got the day off on Wednesday, so
Nice.
I'm watching the
Oh,
Lakers
man.
game.
You
Nice.
probably want to work, so you don't
I
have to.
said Lakers game. What am I
He's-
doing?
Spence, come to the best side, Spence.
I know, dude. Spence, we won't tell anyone. Just apply, and we got you. We know something.
No, I'm gonna tear my application. Warriors.
Oh,
But that's gonna do it for us. This was a lot of fun. I always love talking playoffs, especially when my Warriors are finally back in it. It's been a long 2 year, something like that.
yeah.
It's weird not watching the playoffs. Yesterday felt like a playoff game for me. It was so intense. I was stressed. I loved it. But thank you, Myles, for coming back on.
Yeah,
Thank you as
Myles.
always. Yeah, got you guys.
Can't wait. After the first round, we will do another one of these playoff runs. And until then, catch you guys in the next one. But peace.